Good morning. Obviously had a tough weekend. Didn't play particularly well. Felt on Saturday. Going through the tape though, there were some bright things that we did see, some improvement that we've got to take and carry forward into this week. We're playing a team in southern Utah that quite frankly has probably had a little bit of schedule like us. You know, they're 0-3 right now, but they've played three excellent football teams. They played Nevada the first week of the season to a 9-point game. It was a 6-0 game at the half. The last 2 weeks they played two teams that were ranked in the top 11 in the FCS. So this is a team that's hungry for a win. They're going to come here expecting to win. Last year they beat South Alabama. A couple years back they beat UNLV by 20. So they're not afraid of taking on FBS opponents. We're not really worried so much about who we're playing this week. We've just got to play better. I think our guys are focused. We've had good practices and we expect the same. Guys were great this morning in our meetings. We just need to clean some things up and play our best game this year on Saturday. So we're excited that it's Youth Day and looking forward to a bunch of kids in the stands and hopefully show them what Bulldog football is all about.
After having a chance to review the Nebraska game, is there one thing that you were the most frustrated or disappointed with?
Probably the big plays that we gave up. We're playing well about 90% of the snaps, and you can't be a consistent defense when you've got 10 guys doing something right and one or two guys, not filling a gap or not, taking a proper angle of the ball or missing a tackle. I was concerned that we were going to look at the tape and maybe see a lack of intensity or lack of effort, and I don't believe that was the case in any of the phases. We've got guys playing hard. I think we definitely got energy from the crowd on Saturday night. We were beaten by a team that played better than us, executed better than us, and it's a tough pill to swallow, but it is what it is. We've got to learn from it and get more consistent. The first half, there was 4 plays that accounted for 24 points, and a couple of those, the punt returner did a nice job. They did a nice job holding guys up and dispersing, our protection team and cover team. But we didn't put the ball where it was supposed to be punted. When you direction punt and guys are going one area and you kick it somewhere else, you put more stress on guys, and you can't give up big punt plays like that. And then the first 3rd and long, we play good defense. We come out and fire it up. The crowd gets into it. They have to take a timeout, and we don't communicate a check, and we bust a coverage and give up an easy play, and then we don't fit a gap on the next series. So those things are frustrating, but things that are fixable, and we've got to get them fixed.
You mentioned that first big play, and just like you said, you forced the 3rd and long, you forced to call timeout. What broke down there? How did that message not get communicated to everybody else on the D?
Well, sometimes it's loud for the opponent, but it's also loud for us, and we have a series of signals that we try to signal. But when the adrenaline's flowing, everybody on our defense knew we had practiced changing calls when we saw certain things from an offense, and we've got 10 guys changing a call, and one guy just hyped up and didn't change the call. And of course, that's the one guy that was supposed to be covering the guy that was wide open down the seam. So it's difficult when it's very correctable, but we didn't get it done when we had to.
I don't know that everyone's shocked by 0-3, but it's the margin of the 0-3 and the deficits that you guys have faced. Have you ever personally been through a stretch like this where the scoreboard looked like that 3 weeks in a row?
No, I've not. But again, I'm not so worried as much about the scoreboard, and I know everybody does, as to how we're playing. And again, I thought we played harder, we played more efficiently, but you can't give up those big plays, especially against talented teams that are going to take advantage of it. It's tough on the psyche of our guys because they clearly didn't expect those things. But it goes to show you if you don't play clean, good teams will embarrass you. And we've got to play a much cleaner game this week, or this team will embarrass us. They got good athletes as well. We've got to play our best game today.
Coach, on a week like this, how much do you lean on your upperclassmen, your senior leaders, as far as kind of rallying the guys?
A ton. Every year is a different year, and every year you've got different leadership. You know, Duran's been a captain now 2 years. He's been an excellent leader for us. Josh is a first-time captain for us. But we challenge all our seniors. This is your senior year. This is the year you're going to remember. And, you know, we challenge our guys all the time. What kind of team do you want to be? You know, are we going to, you know, succumb to what the naysayers say about you, or are you going to bow your necks and go out and work harder? And you know, all of our goals are still ahead of us. And so it's easy to talk about. It's tougher to look yourself in the mirror, find out what's right and wrong, and let's go fix it.
Coach, I understand why you were very careful with what you said about the quarterback situation last week. Anything that you can share now to kind of illuminate how the week progressed and how you ended up in the spot where you couldn't put Brandon out there?
Well, obviously, we don't want to talk about injuries, you know, especially at a position like quarterback where, you know, maybe your opponent now gets a chance to say, hey, look, we're not going to face this guy or that guy. Brandon was at practice all week. He was banged up from the last week's game. He actually had a couple of injuries. And, while he would go out to practice and could run around, he couldn't effectively run team reps. He could do individual stuff, but wasn't injured enough or was not healthy enough to actually run the offense in team periods. And you know, it's not fair to our team. It's not fair to him to put him in a situation where that game plan for that week he wasn't able to practice all week. You know, with Zach being, you know, dinged up, we had to, at least as a contingency plan, have him available in case Brian were to go down in an emergency situation. It wasn't going to set Brandon back necessarily, but he may have had to get us out of a football game. And so we had him ready for that, but you know, our intention was, you know, Brian was going to have to go because of the week of practice. Going into this week, we believe that Brandon's going to be fine in practice. We'll see today and see how the week goes with those two guys practicing going forward.
How are you going to divide those reps? Because obviously you'd love to give guys, if you know a guy's going to start and get most of the reps in the game, you'd like to give him more reps in practice, right?
No doubt. We'll have to see where Brandon's at. You know, right now I'd say it's probably 50-50 depending on his health.
Say about Brian's play in the game, considering he had this one all to himself. He knew going into it he was going to be the guy. Didn't turn the ball over. That's good.
Yeah,
Big play in the run.
I mean, 2 weeks in a row now, you know, with the exception of snapping the ball over our quarterback's head, I think our offense has done a nice job of taking care of the football. And Brian in particular last week, you know, having to go the distance against a really physical, really talented Nebraska defense, I thought did a nice job of doing that, making good decisions. When he had to throw the ball away, throwing the ball away. You know, he was a little slow on some reads, which caused us at times to take some sacks. He'll learn from those. You know, I thought it was really impressive, you know, on the read zone that he pulled and scored. You know, might surprise some people, but we saw that in practice at times. You know, he doesn't look like he's that fast, but when he gets in the open field, he's tough to reel in. And I think as he gets more confident doing those types of things and making those reads, you know, he'll continue to be a weapon for us, and we expect him to be. But it's still an open competition between him and Brandon this week.
How much would you say this team needs a win at this point?
Every week we need a win. So, you know, the fact that we've gone 3 weeks without winning hasn't happened since we've been here. So, I mean, everybody's frustrated. Everybody's on edge. You know, our players are. Our guys expect to win. Our guys go in every game expecting to win. So when you don't win, it's frustrating, and you question why. We challenged our guys because, you know, I've been part of teams and seen teams where guys start pointing fingers. I don't think this group is one of those type of groups. You know, we got a bunch of guys that'll take ownership and what can I do to get things better. I thought our guys had a great look in their eyes this morning when we had our meetings at 6. You know, you show them the things that we got to get cleaned up, and guys are very workmanlike about, you know, getting it done. I like the older guys in our team, the leadership. We've got really good kids. We've got to play smarter and cleaner, but I'm not worried about them as far as getting down on themselves. I'm more concerned about them just having the confidence to play the way that we're capable of playing.
Coach, obviously fan bases can overreact a little bit and can get frustrated just like the team can, but what would be your message to them as far as sticking with this team?
Well, I think that if our fans will watch how our guys play each week, we've gotten better. It's clearly not been good enough. I think, you know, we've been tested by 3, you know, big-time challenges, let's see, this coming week when we have Southern Utah, and then once we get into the conference. And I think if people will see that we're making progress, I would like to think the Red Wave will be fine. I understand the frustration. Nobody's more frustrated than me as the head coach and all of our coaches and our players. We know we haven't played at what we're capable of, but we're going to work, diligently to get that corrected.
Coach, you already kind of talked about this a little bit at the beginning, but the big play has been a problem for you guys. It was last year as well, but it seems like specifically this year, third down is where the big play keeps coming. In practice, is there anything you're doing specifically to target third down, money down situations to get off the field?
Wednesday's our third down day, Wednesday and Thursday. Early in the week, it's introduction. On Tuesdays, we work our mixed down stuff. It's always been a critical down for us, and it's always a huge coaching point. Our guys know that it's been more a breakdown in technique versus it just happened to come on third down, unfortunately, sometimes. The big run came on first down. We've got to do a much better job of just executing the defense. I don't know that it's I know it's manifested itself on third down, but I think it's just more of a, either personnel breakdown one-on-one in a situation or, busted, coverage, and we've got to get those corrected.
And then Charles Washington played safety or played corner for you last week. He's listed officially as a corner this week when the 2 deep, not or safety. What's he done for that position for you, and what do you like about him there? Well,
he's still learning there, but again, with his experience and his speed, guys aren't going to run by him. He's going to go compete for a football. He's our best strong safety. He's probably our best corner once he learns our defense. So, our defense, we'll put some stress on corners at times, just like everybody does. When you've got to go an extra guy in the box to defend the run, you've got to be able to hold up outside. And he understands that, and we've been much better with him at corner. Guys are throwing the ball over the top of his head. He had the one penalty. He got kind of tangled up with the guy, and those things are going to happen at times with him. As opposed to a 15-yard penalty, which you can live with, in the past, we've been letting guys run by us for 6, and we can't do that.
Everyone knew it was going to be tough to replace Derek Carr. You can't replace a guy like that. But they think about his arm and maybe his legs and his decision-making. But what about his leadership? And without him here, the way he was such a leader for the whole team, not just the offense, is this a case where the coaching staff has to step in more than maybe it did before because you don't have that extremely magnetic and charismatic force leading your team?
Well, I don't know that it's a lack of leadership this year. I like what Deron and I like what Josh is doing for us. I think it's a little bit more just confidence in guys that have done it, who have made plays. We've got guys with capability, but not having Devontae and Isaiah and Marcel and having Derek distribute the ball to them, everybody on our team was confident when they went on the field, they were going to find a way to make plays. We've got guys capable of it. They haven't done it consistently. And so I think it's more of we've got to continue to rep guys, younger receivers, get them into the flow where guys like Dylan Root are making plays. Now we've got confidence. The whole team has confidence, and I think it'll grow from there. But I don't think it's a lack of leadership. If I saw guys loafing, if I saw guys doing things that weren't right, then I'd say, hey, we got a leadership problem. Our guys are giving really good effort. It's just we're young now, and we're dropping balls, or we're just not making plays that we're capable of making.